Do you fear death? Why not? What's death gonna do? Kill me? I'd like to see him try. Yes, my reason is stupid. I can't really properly explain it. If we're not reborn, or there's no afterlife, I can't imagine not being able to think or use my senses. I work in the medical field and am more afraid of getting old than I am of dying. I have patients who it seems like all they have left is scheduling different doctor's visits. I'll try to schedule something for them in say, August, and their schedule for that month will already be booked with other doctor's appointments. I have patients where their loved ones basically shuttle them from appointment to appointment trying to delay the inevitable. I don't want to become like that, but in reality I have no idea how I will become. Just like anyone else, it's the fear of uncertainty that gets me, more than the fear of the thing itself. The weird thing about working in the medical field is seeing the long-term effects of how you treat your body. The difference between a 90-year-old who lived a fairly healthy life compared to a 65-year-old non-compliant diabetic who always avoided the stairs is mind-blowing. Really scares you into getting your crap straight. I never did until I held my dad's hand when he died after battling cancer, and saw the look of fear confusion in his eyes, something I'd never seen him express. Then I helped the hospice nurse clean and remove medical devices from his body from all the cancer-related surgeries. Now I fear the process of dying, mostly because it seems like everyone who makes it past 40 gets eaten away by cancer in the end. My mortality seemed almost palpable after the experience, and it's a scary feeling. I also feel bad that I will not see what we discover accomplish as a species in the future, so that's a disappointing aspect as well, though not really fair. What we discover accomplish as a species in the future. Well, you've experienced life as a human in the 21st century. Quite an interesting time. I'm sure someone from the Middle Ages would be impressed. 40-year-old here who should have been dead 5 different times, but somehow here I sit. I think as you get older and watch friends and family die, you have to face your own mortality. The scary part is the how. I've watched a couple of family members die of cancer and it's freaking horrible. It's a crappy way to go and very difficult to watch someone you love go out that way. Worrying about it won't change anything. Had another friend who never drank and would randomly smoke a cig or two on the weekends. Out of nowhere he has a brain aneurysm and dies 2 days later. Meanwhile I was drinking 12-15 beers a day and smoking a pack a day. Why him? I should have been the one voted most likely to die young. You watch enough of these deaths and just realize that the only people who know for sure how they are going out are the ones who do it themselves. It's best to just accept it and try to make the most you can out of the limited time we have on this rock. Honestly, if I ever get a terminal illness, once it starts getting bad I might just buy a ton of H and overdose. Most trip reports of people who overdose on opiates and are resuscitated obviously say that you feel amazing and then pass out. I'd much rather die that way than live a couple more months in agony. I used to think I'd be content when the time came. But from an experience where one wrong move could have ended with my death, I am no longer okay with dying. I have so much I haven't done and so much I want to do. So many people that would be affected by my loss. I don't want to put anyone through something like that if it can be prevented. I know death is inevitable, but if I can choose to die of old age then I choose that over anything else. So to answer your question, yes I fear death. Death no. Dying yes. Dying seems like it would be a very unpleasant experience. The thing is there are many ways to die. A long drawn, slow death sucks, but history also tells of people who've died with the most peaceful smile on their face. That would be the brain releasing awesome drugs. Blimey, I'm surprised at the responses. I am scared of death whenever I think about it. I will lose everything that makes my internal sense of self and cease to exist. I become an unthinking lump of matter. Stop and think how many weekends you have until you die. If you make it till you're 70, how many experiences or thoughts you will miss out on. Of course that scares me. I have one life and I'm most likely already a third of the way through it. I don't have the imagination to understand what not existing is, as my mind has never had to do it, and while I know that death is inevitable it does nothing to quell the fear. Instead it motivates me to try and better myself, even if in very minor ways. I lasted 4 comments in. Leaving this thread now. Not digging up my phobia. Nope. I'm disabled. I require carers and people around me for basically everything. My life is one of dependence and death is just one more thing out of my control, so frick it. Not to make light of the challenges you experience, if you are mobile, not to be confused with mobility, find someone to get you strapped into a razor or a rhino. Even if you need a full neck restraint, most able-bodied people will also require. Once strapped in, find dirt or mud. You won't be disappointed. Fear of death used to keep me up at night. I couldn't do anything without thinking about how everyone I knew, including me, was gonna die. Now I never think about it. If it happens, it happens. All we can do is enjoy the small amount of time we get here. Pretty much same. I recently went through roughly a 6-month period where it really consumed my thoughts. Now in the past 2 months or so I've begun to accept it more and think about it less. Ironically, despite constant suicidal thoughts, I'm freaking terrified of actually dying. That's actually more common than you may think. I have manic depression, and as strange as it seems, the only reason why I survived the episodes of suicidal thoughts was because the uncertainty of death is scarier than the certainty of a negative life. It's really crazy. I hope you're okay though. Stay strong. You know that experiment where you give a kid a marshmallow and promise to give them a second if they don't eat the first? I'm the kid that eats the first marshmallow. It's not that I can't wait or that I'm hungry. I'm just unable to associate my current situation with what will happen in the future. So do I fear death? At the moment, no. Dying is just some abstract idea that I don't foresee happening anytime soon. But when that time comes, I expect I'll be terrified. At night I do. When I try to fall asleep, I always seem to get really focused on those final moments, which really trips me out and fills me with fear. Then, by morning I am back to my regular self who could really care less, because I honestly don't fear what's on the other side, just the method that I take to get there. Every night when I wake up in the middle of the night, I tell myself, one day I won't wake up, one day I will die, one day. But when it goes through my mind, I think of losing my parents. But what hurts the most is of my parents losing me. Life, i.e. beautiful, but it also hurts being alive. I mean, sort of, yeah. I think it's because the only thing I know how to do is, well, feel. If death removes all ability to feel, all consciousness and what makes me, well, I'm sure when I'm dead I won't be physically capable of caring anyway. So maybe death itself doesn't scare me. The idea of dying and feeling myself slipping away scares me a bit, though. That one hurt me. I did at first. Then I thought about how eventually the planet I'll live on will die and swallowed by the sun. And if I somehow found a way to fly out towards Neptune and set up life there, eventually the star our system revolves around will die, maybe in a fiery explosion taking out all the other planets with it. And assuming that I somehow found a way to hop from star system to star system, the stars will all eventually die. And even if I found a way to live without the energy from the stars, the universe will keep on expanding until eventually not even atoms are capable of staying formed. And if somehow I was able to avoid all that, all I'd have to look forward to is an eternity of nothing that right now defies the imagination. Eventually even the memories that I was so desperate to hold on to will dissipate like the matter around me. I could not feel, touch, taste, hear, see or think, just like death. So I would still die. I would just die an immortal. Then I realized that this would happen because everything else around me had died. The whole universe has died. How big must my ego be to believe that I, above everything else in the universe, should get to live forever? I'm still scared about dying, but more like I don't want to die in a car crash, rather than I never want to die. Absolutely. What if I die on the toilet and didn't get a chance to flush first? What if my last words are I actually have really good balance and then immediately fall down a flight of stairs? What if I'm trying to impress a girl and she gets sprayed with blood when it all goes wrong? Death isn't scary because everything goes blank. Death is scary because it's freaking awkward as heck and other people have to deal with your corpse. Considering that people often crap themselves when they die, being on the toilet might be the best way. Sure, someone finds your crap in the toilet, but the alternative is that they find it in your pants or on your bed sheets. No, it will mean all my bills will go away. I hope that after I die, people will say of me, that guy sure owed me a lot of money. Jack Handay. Davy Jones? Delia Fiadith. I fear the death of my husband, not my own. I would literally lose half of myself when my wife is gone. 28 years and 3 sons. Afraid of dying just because you can't really help it, not necessarily afraid of death itself. When you know that you have to die at some point no matter what, and there's really nothing you can do to prevent that, it's better to enjoy your time on Earth while you can rather than wasting it worrying over death. Why be afraid of something that you can't avoid? Because it's scary. I got born okay, I figure I'll die alright too. This actually makes more sense the more I read it. I actually go back and forth depending on my mood. In my more depressive states, I tend to think about how meaningless so much of life is, how millions of humans have died before me and many more will after me and I'll be forgotten. Combine that with a pretty deep understanding of space and its absolute size and the various sources of corruption in our day-to-day lives that control our actions and ability to be who we want to be, and death sometimes doesn't seem too bad. When I'm feeling more positive and inspired, I think about the amazing sights this world has to offer, and all the small positive moments you can have when interacting with others, your environment. This tends to coincide with my passion for photography. Makes me want to see the world and experience cultures and meet others and see how they live. During these times, death definitely scares me mainly because I would miss out on these potential moments. I tend to think of death in the personal sense. When it comes to the death of friends and loved ones, I tend to just enjoy the moments and time I have with them and understand that death is just part of the cycle and you can't necessarily predict it, so no use in stressing over it right now. I don't fear death. I fear what comes after. If there's no afterlife, it means my entire life is pointless. It means everything I've done literally has no point to it. I live, I die, and then what? Nobody remembers me. People care for a few days, but otherwise I'm just dust in the ground. You can spend your entire life trying to live up to your best, and then what? Nothing. That's what terrifies me. I feel there's no point to it. I feel there's no reason to even be alive since we're all going to die and our story will come to a close. But nothing after that will matter. It makes the entire concept of existence absolutely meaningless, and it gives me no hope to even try to carry on. If I had any hope for there being something extra, it would give me purpose. I'd feel like it mattered, and maybe I'd feel anything but constant existential dread. I wrote my own comment, but you said it way better than I did. This is exactly what I fear. I am. Absolutely. To die is my greatest fear and it's killing me, literally, as I can do nothing about it. It can't be stopped, it is gonna happen, so I rather not think about it because anything else makes sense. What am I worried about my job if at some point I'm gonna die? What's the point on doing normal things like shopping or dating if you're gonna die anyway? Yes, you can enjoy living, but that's not gonna help you to survive. You can be the happiest man or woman alive and you're gonna die anyway. So I rather not think about it at all, that way I can live. Number. Acceptance seemed easier than getting freaked out about something that I can't change. Of course. I've got no freaking idea what happens when I die. I don't want to know. You're meant to be scared of it. Sure, I have accepted and embraced death before, but I think everyone is scared of it. A man that doesn't fear death is not brave, but a fool. Number. Although I don't seek it, I've been close to death a couple of times out of stupidity or bad luck. When I was close to death, there wasn't any fear of imminent death during it. I was just so focused on the task at hand that led me into the situation. When it happens, it's not like your life flashes before you, and afterwards I'm focused on getting out of the situation. The heart skips a beat and you can get a cold sweat, but it does the same if you accidentally send a dong pic to your boss. I think the best representation of how it feels is the start of the telltale game Walking Dead, when you're in the car crash and just before you're given choices on how to say basically oh crap, and none of the choices affects the crash. I have a bigger fear of almost dying and getting quality of life degradations or putting others people's life health in danger as they try to save mine. Then again, maybe I haven't had a real experience and the worst is yet to come. I don't know how I will react to dying of old age. I fear getting old more than I fear death. Absolutely this. Loss of independence, cognitive function, family, dreams, realizing time is running out. Not really death, but the pain that will come before it. I don't fear death. only the process. I don't fear death, I fear dying. It's out of my control, just like life. Worry is simply pointless. Also, I expect nothing after death, so I'm not scared of any afterlife. Death no, suffering, being debilitated before I get there yes. I don't fear death, it's the process of dying that I find unsettling. More afraid of losing people that I love than dying myself. Seems like if I die I just die, but if someone else dies then it's horrible, because you have to learn to live with it. I mean somewhat. If there's no afterlife then these 50-80 years are all that I get to be or experience. But on the other hand, once I'm gone, I won't even know it. So basically, afraid of dying, but not afraid of being dead. I don't know if that makes sense. No, why should I fear something I've never done? It could be fun. There were 13 billion years of your non-existence before you were born. Death should feel like an old friend. I don't fear the state of being dead, because I don't believe there is any consciousness after death. I fear possible pain from the act of dying, but not death itself. Okay, imagine going to bed, knowing you're never going to wake up again. You've still had so many things to do in your life, but you never did, and you now never will. All hope is now lost. You're gone, swallowed by darkness, and, as far as I believe, the darkness isn't ever going to end. There were billions of years before you existed and the universe survived not having you. There will be billions after and it will be fine. TBH, I'm kinda excited to die to see what happens next. I just hope my death is not long and painful. Edit. Perhaps excited to die was the wrong wording. I meant something more like I don't care if I die. Like, some people want to be immortal and are crippled by the thought of their own end. But I think that living forever would be kinda boring. I'm in no rush. When it happens it'll happen. I have no intentions of speeding up that process. I believe I have a purpose and I look forward to what the future will bring. I don't want to seem like I'm making light of death or suicide in any way, and I encourage you to seek help if you are struggling with grief and or suicidal thoughts actions. I hope you're not in a rush, though. After 7 attempts you realize it's not for you. Family is from Mexico. A saying I've been told is, Cuando te toca, ong te quitas, cuando no, ong te pongas. Roughly translates to when it's your turn, happens even if you get out of the way, when's it's not, it doesn't happen even if you put yourself in the way. Please excuse the poor translation. Frick yes, and it's made worse by people saying there is nothing after. I believe them. But frick no, that is not a comfort. All that does is devalue my existence and make it abundantly clear that I'm born to do nothing but die. I'm a waste of energy that the universe could have put to other uses. Death is a horrifying part of nature and I hope I'll be alive when it's defeated. I would gladly outlive everyone I know if it meant never having to see the end. Yes, I do know the solar system, the galaxy, and even the universe have a finite amount of time. That is so absurdly far away that I'm fine with it. Upvoted because you eloquently explained why some people fear lack of consciousness. I never really understood it. That being said, living forever sounds like much greater torture to me, and I'm a relatively happy human being. Don't fear the Reaper. No, I don't. Now comes why. I can't change it, it's a law of nature. Everybody dies. Maybe there's nothing after. If yes, we won't experience anyway. If no, I will live happily in heaven. Another thing I can't change. Those 2 points regarding my own death. I fear the death of people I love, but I know that they will still live on in my memory and whatever I do, they won't come back. I'm not, but I am a little bit worried about an afterlife existing. If you really pay attention to the afterlife experiences different religions have, you are going to notice how scary they are. From the true forms of angels and God, to the 6 dharmas rebirth realms, they all have these horror looking beings and places. I prefer not existing than spending time in one of those places. Most were drawn or painted that way to keep people in line when the church ruled the masses. The reality would be somewhat different, I'd say. It wouldn't be all fluffy bunnies and Candyland, but not exactly hellfire and damnation, either. Number. Nobody has ever complained about being dead. It's the living people left behind who have it hard. You have been visited by the Holy Fruit Boy. If you comment Tiny Turtle, he will bless you with unlimited holy fruits. If you are new to the channel, you can subscribe. I publish new videos every day. Until then, check out another video, or don't. Either way, have a great day, you magnificent people.